Welcome, we are going to do something exciting today. Get a piece of wood, it can be quite thin because we are going to make a decoration. I suggest using basswood, but of course any wood will do really. I will show you how to draw your fox first, step by step. It will be easy, even if you haven't done any drawing before. So let's look at the placement. We will draw the head on the left and the space on the right will be occupied by a nice and bushy tail. And this is what I do. I start at some distance from the top because we're still going to have ears there. I draw a part of the semicircle first to one side and then to the other. Now, still keeping that center point in mind, draw a little line a bit further down. This is going to be the nose of our fox, connected to the sides of the semicircle with a curved line. It might be a bit tricky to do it symmetrically from both sides. Don't worry about that, I will need to make small adjustments too. Maybe turn your work around to have a better look and correct it. Okay, now we will show the cheeks of our fox with lines going down towards the nose. And if your fox starts looking like a pair of underwear at this point, then you're doing everything right. Again, I try to do it more or less symmetrically, but of course it doesn't have to be perfect at all. Now we will draw the body, two curved lines. Just remember that the neck will be a bit narrower than the rest, although you can modify it the way you like, there are no rules here. Surely our fox will need ears, so let's draw them. I will use a horizontal line as a point of reference. Again, I'm just trying to keep everything on the same level. The last thing that we need to draw is a tail. Make sure you leave some space between the head and the tail because otherwise it might be a bit too tricky to carve if the space is too narrow. It should be comfortable for your knife to go in between. Okay, here's the tail, it's nice and curved. Or you could make it more straight if you want to make the carving easier. Now, if you find yourself struggling, you can simply download the pattern that I've drawn for you, but I encourage you to follow my instructions and draw your own fox first. No one is there to judge you and it doesn't have to be 100% correct or symmetrical. Great, now we need to carve around the outline. We're not going to use all this extra wood around our fox. Remember that the safest cut is away from yourself. I do cut towards myself too, but I am able to control my knife and make sure that it doesn't go into my thumb. If you are unsure about that, turn your work around and carve away. Also, to get rid of that wood in between, I use a lot of V-cuts. This is when your cuts create a letter V. Keep going around as close to the outline as possible. Carve between the ears too. And we are done. Well, not really. We still need to carve our fox. What I do first is make a slicing cut for the ears. And then I'm going to push them back. This will give us plenty of room for carving the face, the forehead and the rest. Don't carve too much because you can always do more later, but you can't put the wood that you cut off back. The same thing is with the tail. A slicing cut first and then I make a distinction between the tail and the body, otherwise our fox would be really flat. At the same time, I get rid of sharp edges. We will do more work on them later, but it's good to start rounding our fox as we go. And let's do the head too. As you see, I always follow my pencil lines with a cut first, so it's like you're drawing again, but this time with a knife. And then I'm going to undercut underneath because the head will be above the body. Keep doing it until there is a clear distinction. Now that I have the main parts of our fox established, I can start adding to them a bit more. For example, you can push the tail a bit further to the back. And also all those sharp edges, they need to go whether they want to or not. You can rotate your piece in your hand and find the most comfortable position. I try not to leave anything uncarved, otherwise there will be flat areas that might look too out of place. My wood is not the best, to be honest. It's a bit flaky and it tears a lot, but you can make pretty much any type of wood work, provided it's not rotten. We have some flat areas on the body too, so I'm going to even them out slightly so that it doesn't look half finished. Now the exciting part. We're going to give our fox cheeks. Look how I do it. I go with a sweeping cut from the side towards the nose. This is a rather shallow cut. Don't take too much wood at once, keep your knife close to the surface. I do it a few times until we have the whole cheek area established. Then I turn my work around and do the other cheek. I push the blade with my thumb in a controlled motion. You need to always be aware of the pressure that you apply to your knife. Okay, now let's get rid of the edge. Make the forehead smooth and not so bulky. You see those sharp edges at the end too? Let's make them less pronounced. And I work a bit more on the body. Now ears. You could leave them like that, but I will show you how to make them more interesting. Make 2 cuts in the shape of a triangle with your blade, tilted slightly at an angle. Make a 3rd cut at the base. Then you can reinforce your cuts so that they meet under the surface and take out that piece of wood. Don't worry if it doesn't come out clean, you can do more cuts from one side and then from the other. Deepen the ear until you are satisfied with it. Here they are. Now still more work on our tail. I make sure that it's really rounded. And I usually like the knife finish, but I think this wood will look better sanded. You might prefer that too. And here you are, some magic, look how smooth it is. We still have a few things to do. I'm going to draw this kind of collar around the chest of our fox. It will stand out really nicely and it will be white. Then I make a cut with the tip of the knife all around the pencil lines. And by the way, it is a good thing to make it all the way to the side, so do that too. Now I undercut from underneath so that the collar has some thickness. Then I sand it. The last one would be a similar thing, but at the end of the tail. It will represent some white fur. I will sand it as well too. And now we can paint it. Grab some orange color. By the way, I use a lighter and a darker orange. You will also need white and some dark brown. At first I paint with light orange and then I add some darker pigment as a kind of a shadow. And I mix it a bit to remove the hard edge. You can paint it at the back too. Then I paint the head, but I leave some space for white color. It will be on the cheeks and the ears. I apply white color on all uncovered areas. Now the eyes. I draw them with a pencil first, just in case I make a mistake, and then I go over them with a dark brown. This is completely optional, but I like these little dots as a kind of decoration. You can go wild here and do your own variations. Okay, to make a magnet you would need these discs. They're usually very cheap and widely available online. I use some super glue as well. I just apply it on the back of our fox and then the disc as well. Press it and hold it for a bit. And look at that, our fox is proudly hanging on the fridge. Now you could also simply make a Christmas tree decoration. Just insert an eye screw and hang it on a piece of rope or ribbon, and here you are.